Hello, this is Manish Patel from the EII Capital Group. Today is March 27, 2011. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the futures market, where we cover everything from commodity futures to metals to natural gas to oil and so forth out there. So let's begin. Uh, Here's a normal disclaimer just to state that this is for educational use only. All charts are in Thinkorswim TradeStation, freestockcharts.com. Also, here are my contact details here. You can follow us on Twitter at Ichimoku Trading. Also, you can access any of our free videos at eiicapital.com. Okay, so we're going to go straight into our charts. Remember, to your left, you basically have the daily time frame. To the right, you basically have our weekly time frame. So let's go and start just scrolling for the futures in the very top. And we'll go from there. And let's go and cover cocoa futures. If you look at cocoa futures, the last couple of weeks is basically going down. We held and we went up a little. Really, there's no trend at all in this trade at all right now. This thing really has got to get above 34.35 in order to start a bullish trend again. But this is very volatile, as you could see, with the huge drastic movements it has. In fact, if you look at this big movement here, it's retraced 34, about 75% of that trend completely. So that's big volatile movement. It's not even smooth. So these things are getting yanked around on a weekly basis right now, but there's no trend there at all. In fact, if you look at the daily time frame, one more push down, that this thing's going to start going bearish. But really, I wouldn't count on anything right now. Excuse me. Like the sweet crude oil, if you look at it, weekly is bullish. The daily is bullish too. In fact, we got a double top here. The double top is not confirmed at all. This thing really needs to start moving now. Probably in the next three to 4 days. If this thing does not break out higher and break these pivot highs right here, this thing does have a potential of Holly making a double top and reversing. But everything on the weekly is telling me that this thing's going to keep on going higher, and we're still looking on a target next target of 112, which we've been looking for the last couple of months. So we're still bullish on this as far as light sweet crude oil is concerned. If you're in it, keep your stops tight. Okay, cotton, you could see on the weekly is still bullish trending. On the daily, as you could see, it's kind of consolidating here at the top. So you may experience a pullback to at least the Tinkinson on the weekly or further, but we got to wait and see what happens. But it is getting a little weak right now as far as daily is concerned. U.S. dollar index, you could see the U.S. dollar index was bearish trending, retested the lows here as far as the weekly time frame is concerned. And you could see from the daily it's still bullish trending until it violates the Kijun-sen at 76.94. So we still got a trend as far as the daily is concerned. Okay. We'll come back and look at gold. Feeder cattle, if you look at it, it's still bullish trending on the weekly. Broke out finally on the daily. Looks like it's trying to retest the high as far as last Friday was concerned. So this looks like it's continuing to retest this high and then possibly break through. Weekly still very, very strong right now. So this does have a tendency to probably still keep on moving forward upwards. Lead hogs is pretty much the same chart. If you look at it, it's moving forward, bullish trend easily on the weekly. A little weaker on the daily, but it's starting to make a momentum to move up. I think one more pullback and then a break higher can possibly sit there and retest the high and break through that and keep on going. Let's go look at copper. Copper's been interesting. If you look at copper, it's had a nice trend up. It finally did a pullback. It's kind of hanging around here above the Tinkinson right now. It has gone above the Tinkinson last week. So it's telling us that this medium pullback may be over. It looks like it's trying to retest a high. But if you look at the daily time frame is concerned, it's still not set up for bullish chart at all yet. So if it gets a minor pullback, and then goes higher, this thing can possibly set up to go higher and retest the highs. So keep a lookout for copper breaking up to its highs, but we got to wait and see what happens. As far as right now, there's nothing there. Heating oil on the weekly is basically bullish. You could see on the daily it's kind of hanging around, consolidating us, and needs to really make a move in the next 2 or 3 days to go higher. Otherwise, this thing can sit there and enter a major pullback on the weekly. If you look at coffee futures, the weekly is bullish trending. It's pulled at a minor pullback to the Tinkinson, held it. If you look at the daily, it's in the pullback 2 phase. So we gotta wait and see what happens here for another setup. Lumber, if you look at lumber, it's still bullish trending on the weekly, and if you look, it's starting to gain some momentum again as far as the daily is concerned. It's just consolidating right now, but it could gain some momentum. Live cattle, same thing as lean hogs and the other meat futures, basically breaking to the top side. You could see this is probably the strongest one of all the meat type of futures. Reason why is the daily is very, very strong right now. So this beats feeder cattle and others too. Okay. Natural gas. If you look at natural gas here, it's basically in the cloud in the weekly, so it's consolidating. On the daily, it's broken out of the cloud to be sentiments bullish. However, to start a trend, it's got to do a pullback and then go. As of right now, it's not starting a trend, but it has moved to a bullish nature completely. Frozen juice, orange juice, you could see is basically breaking down on the weekly time frame is concerned, and basically turned bearish now on the daily from where it is. It really looks like it's going to retest, go below 155 as far as the daily is concerned now. Palladium, if you look at it, it's basically in a pullback phase on the weekly, which basically has moved it into a bearish sentiment as far as the daily is concerned. So you got conflicts going on right now, so you got to wait and see what happens there. Platinum, basically it's broken through here. It's entering a major pullback as far as the weekly is concerned, and you can see here it went down, pulled back to the cloud, held occasions in, and there's high possibility of now platinum getting to about 1713 very soon. Gasoline, if you look at it, it's basically bullish trending on the weekly, bullish trending as far as the daily is concerned too. It's kind of topping side here. Things really got to start moving in this week and break the pivot high. If it doesn't, it's going to form a double top and possibly go down. Sugar is a concern. It's on a major pullback now on the weekly. Finally, after this big run up. If you look at the weekly, it's basically bearish now. It's entering a minor pullback. As far as daily is concerned, excuse me, silver, as you know, has been strong of all the metals out there. Look at the weekly, is still very strong, bullish trending, and the daily feel very, very strong here. So this looks very good going to the long side. Still has a lot of momentum as far as silver is concerned. Let's go look at gold. Look at gold here. Bullish trending on the weekly, but look what happened here. The little head fake here, just like the pound USD had done on the currency side, went up, thinking everyone's this thing's about to take off and go to 1500, and then look what it did. It slammed it down and caught the everyone going long. I think it'll still hold the Tinkinson level of 1418, but if it does break that, then this was definitely a head fake, and it could sit there and destroy this thing. But I have a feeling this thing's going to resume very soon. It's probably got about the next 5 days to sit there and break the pivot highs. If it doesn't, then it has a huge potential of reversing. Let's keep on going. 30-year Treasury bonds. If you look at them on a weekly time frame, it went bearish. We're bearish here as far as the weekly bonds are concerned, and we're entering a pullback phase. We came all the way back to the Tinkinson last week. We held the Tinkinson as far as that's concerned, and you could see the daily is basically consolidating. So if anything, it's got more of a bearish tilt, but it's basically consolidating on both time frames, so there's no trades there. Corn, weekly bullish. You can see the dailies have a little weak right now, so you're looking for a trend to start breaking out to the top side. Soybean oils is bullish trending on the weekly is concerned, and consolidating on the daily. Okay, 10-year Treasury bonds, same thing as a 30-year. You could see that basically is bearish sentiment and getting stronger as far as the bearish is concerned for the long term. And you could see on the daily it's in the cloud, so it's consolidating. Oats, you could see this basically pullback, major pullback on the weekly over here. This looks like it may sit there and have a little push up to about 370 very soon. If once it gets there, then this question is which way is it going to go. So kind of in between as far as oats is concerned. Lastly, let's go for wheat. Excuse me. If we look at wheat futures, basically, there's nothing there really. Just like here, just like oats, it's got to go to about 762. It looks like it's trying to get there, or break 704. So those are the two levels there. Hope you enjoyed this week. Have a good week, and